Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're gonna do Red Eyes Volume 2 Obsidian Fire by Mr. David Feed from Romero Comics and Games. Um, David asked me when you know, do the second review. Well, here it is, David. You ask and you shall receive. Um, my review of the I did a review of the first one, of course, and I had a lot of things to say. I gave some criticisms or maybe constructive criticisms. But this is a comic. This has already been made. This is from 2021, if I'm correctly. Let me double check here. Is this somewhere? I don't know. So yeah, the criticism that I gave him, not sure if that's being applied in Volume 3, because Volume 3 is, I believe, as good as done. Almost, and I'm going to leave the link in the description as well. So what is did he improve? Well, we're going to find out what is improved. Well, first of all, the quality of the comic. The other one is saddle stitched, and this is perfect bound. But to be fair, I don't mind the saddle stitch, because the saddle stitch version was pretty good as well when it comes to quality. I mean, the paper stock is really good. The interior paper stock is nice. So I have no problems there. I think the quality of this book is good. So I also like this cover, and then it also has a back cover. I like them both. Unfortunately, the problems of the first book is also in here. But there's also some good things in here. So I'm going to talk about that. It's going to be probably a long video, so I'm not going to touch everything. So let's dive in. First of all, the colors are really nice. I love the colors. They are fun to look at. It's bright. It's not too saturated. It has a very nice aesthetic when it comes to colors. I like that. So this story is about the Obsidian Fire. So legend says that there's far beyond the mist of the north, there lies a sea of eternal ice, and in that ice sea thingy, there is an island called Rehalia, and it says that there's an underwater volcano that spits out unique lava called liquid obsidian fire, and that can be used to make obsidian weapons with certain properties and power. So we first go to here. This is the capital of Nordjehaili, if I'm saying that correctly, in the CN Tower. And this guy is called General Frank von Hauser. And he's being approached by, I don't know, maybe a fellow captain, subordinate, something. She brought in some spies, and she wants that he lead them to the king for questioning or something, or reporting to duty. First off, no, we're going back a little bit. No. I'm just gonna say it. This book suffers from, like I said, the same problems of the first one, which means flowing storylines. It's a lot. It's messy. This book needs better editing. Some dialogue doesn't click or is not related to the story. Sometimes the dialogue doesn't make any sense. There's humor in here that doesn't really work, in my opinion, because I think the book wants to be fun and joyous, but serious at the same time, but it doesn't gel with each other, if you know what I mean. So I think it's better that this comic dumps the humor, or the humor that it's trying to make. I don't mind humor, and concentrate on the mature, quote unquote, serious stuff. I think that works better for this comic. The art, I think, is improving. There is in the last comic, the art was a little bit wonkier. This is now way better. There's still some problems here, but it's way better. So it seems that he is now leading these guys to the king, and also the lettering that needs to change. I mean, this here ha and the sigh, dump it. It doesn't work. That's what I mean with the comedic factor sometimes. And then this spy says, he says, the commander says, hey, you wait for him to call you, meaning that the king he's going in and then the king's called them. I'm not sure how that works. And then they hear a sound and he says, anyway, this is my first rodeo. Here I let myself in. I don't believe that is how that works. I mean, if you are spies, you're not letting yourself in, especially not with a commander next to you. So, but he opens the door and there is singing. And I like this one. If you're singing and then this visual thing here, I like that. That's something new. Or, well, it's not really new, but I like seeing that in comics. But it seems that this is the king. The king is naked and, I don't know, weird looking. And he says, how dare you enter with my permission? He stands up and then he's, I don't know, all crazy and such. And he says, the spy says, hey, we have important news. And he says, what's with that sword? And then, I don't know, this guy blew up, the other one. And his name was Johnny or something. This thing here, cool. I like that. Also the surprise on the face. It's cool looking. Reminds me a little bit of Walter Simonson's lettering, with all the boom and doom and big bombastic words. Looks cool. I like that. You do not enter without my permission. Okay, you already said that. You don't have to repeat yourself. And I also love the smoking effect from the sword. So he says, now speak. From the top down side. And some perspective I really like. Visual storytelling, I like that a lot. Other things, not so much. And then this guy is all shaking. He says, General Daima sent us to you. Let you know that Luther has not delivered the item. And he says, okay, be gone. And he says, well, that's the most important job that he has, to save or hide the icon. So I still don't know what the icon really is, but I believe it's some kind of a object that is powerful or important to something. Not entirely sure. And then the king says, then starts to sing again for unknown reasons. And he says, what worries me is the power of my sword is inebriating. I'm not familiar with that word. Do you mean hibernating? I don't know. But and then we see this visual image, which normally look cool, but it's way too dark. And it says the obsidian weaponry of the CN Tower is spitting out cold, dark fumes. Again, like that, but it's too dark. Then, like I said, I'm gonna skip. I'm not gonna tell you all of the story dialogue because this is a big book. I'm not gonna go over it. And then, so this tiger guy and this girl is here in the village that our heroes are in. They open up and they come in. It seems that they are allies of our hero. And okay, some nudity in here, but she has some metal thing on her back that I think, wait a minute, does that belong in this fantasy world? I mean, normally it's some kind of a cyborg-esque science fiction spinal thingy. I don't know. I like the tiger guy. The tiger guy is fun. He has beef with this guy here, and the leader and this woman know each other for, I don't know, for a long time. And like I said, there's some humor in here that I have absolutely no clue if that's gonna work, or so I'm gonna skip that for also my brain. Otherwise, I'm gonna focus too much on things that is not really important, I guess. So the leader guy here, and forgive me if I do not know all the names, because the problem with books like this, when you introduce a lot of characters, all these characters needs to have screen time. But there is not much time because the story needs to go on. And since this is a crowdfunded book, it's going to take half a year, maybe a year, until the next comes. And then we have all these characters that needs to be fleshed out, but there is no time. And unless you want to read issue 1 and 2 over and over again, so that you know, if you read issue or volume 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, yeah, it's not going to work out. So therefore, yeah, I'm not going to focus too much on all these side characters. So for if you like, you know, just some kind of a Dungeons and Dragons book or a high fantasy book, I get that you need characters, but if you throw in too much, it's getting lost in the shuffle, and these characters are being pushed, you know, back or into the sideline, and then I'm, you know, not caring about them anymore, because I see them once or twice. They have some dialogue, and then we're going to focus back on the main guys. Yeah, it really doesn't work if you throw in too much characters. And we have now new characters as well. So there are now 6 or 7 characters, maybe 8 in this whole group. I'm not entirely sure anymore. And so the leader guy shows them a... yeah, I thought this was a bag, but it's some kind of a flask. But since it's all dark and black, I barely can figure it out what exactly is. And there is something in it. And he thinks that, well, he said, hey, maybe you can use your talents to open it. And but she senses something in that. And she said, hey, could it be the red icon I heard about? It doesn't feel or smell like any power stone I've ever seen. And then let me try and open it, says the tiger. And then again, some weird choices here. So this guy here is one of the main guys. Said, "Are you crazy? Broken it's worth nothing." So does he just snatch away the flask because he doesn't have it, or is it just a threatening posturing to don't touch it or don't get near it? Again, this suggests that he has something that he wants to snatch, right? But I'm not sure what's happening here. Again, that confuses me a lot, and it happens a lot in this comic too. There's a lot of things in here that doesn't make any sense at all for me. But I like the tiger. I like the expression. I also like this one, you know, that the grrr is just with a curve above his head. Yeah, and the facial expressions, and how do you say, the art is way better than before. So it seems that they need to have some kind of a weapon, something sharp, to cut through the silk, because it's a Norderhalli king seal that's been preventing to get what's inside. But if that's a flask is normally storing liquid, not a particularly piece of metal or ruby or whatever. So I'm still not sure what's inside. Anyway, so the leader guy talks about legends. And I think, okay, so you're telling me, but immediately you said, okay, enough with the naive legends. We're here on a vital mission to save our Feyen, the Feyen of the present time. Not sure what that means. But the trouble is that, okay, you're telling me the legend, but the legend doesn't correlate with the story at all. So that means you are, David, talking to you, you're throwing stuff in there that is not really that important for now, or at all. Because I'm not sure if this dialogue, what you are trying to tell me as a reader, is relevant later, or do you just want to expose the story? But isn't that, your job is to focus on the story, what is now, and that the reader can understand what's going on. And I'm coming back a little bit later to what I mean with that. So he finally explains what the mission are, and this character says here, hey, finally, you're going to tell us what this mission is all about. And I said, yeah, finally something that is understandable, but because sometimes there is stuff in here that I think, okay, do I need to know that? Is there something I should have known? Just get to the point, right? tell me a story and explain it to me like I'm 5 years old, right? Because I don't know these characters, I don't know the backstories, I don't know how they come together. Just go on with the stories and ignore all these weird side stuff. And what I mean with that, with the side stuff, because I think David wants to tell a coherent story, but then sometimes it feels that his mind is wandering off, and that part he puts also in the comic. And I'm not sure why. Just focus on this and not all things around it. For instance, okay, let's go to the story first. So here's a map, right? So they are here, and they have to go to Jelmir. She said we travel straight north into the neutral town of Jelmir, place kept under control by a lamprey queen, a moody creature, but she's got the intel we desperately need. Okay, I got that. Nice. To reach our goal. So from now on, no more ambushes or crazy shenanigans. My friend Nirk is waiting with the birds in the forest, or with birds. Okay, not sure what the birds has to do with anything, but it doesn't matter. We can come back later to that. Let's pack our things in. And he says, wait a minute, hold on. We need to get gear that's like behind enemy lines. He says, Commander, yes, it is. Okay, so we have Jelmir, we have the capital, we have the target. So I believe they go here, here, and then here. Okay, I get that. But there's also some opening here. So this intel must be pretty important. If this is an opening, you could just make more forest here so that they have to go around here, because this seems a little bit dangerous with all these fortresses here. So normally I would say, go here, go back, cross the land, and then you're already here. That's what my thought process is. But okay, moving on, it's not really that important. But there's something here as well that I barely can read it. I can barely read it, but somehow this is important. Why? Because so they examine the whole plan, and then they talk about suicide missions and people that don't want to die. And he says, well, the freedom of Feyen wouldn't be easy. And then he says, targets, but does that mean we have to take out a big shot of the hunters? So I've read that. I mean, don't you mean a big shot from the hunters, of the hunters? It needs some editing because I know my English is not that good, and I sometimes say something different that I actually want to say, and that's also a lot in here as well. The target mark, the mark is on Soldier. On Soldier. So I thought to myself, what is Soldier? And what is the target? So I go back again. Okay, so this is then the target, and this is then Soldier, I guess. Why not put that name here so that we can read it? And why didn't you explain it that you have to go to Soldier? Because this guy says Soldier, but I didn't know what he meant with that. So I had to go back to find out what Soldier actually is. I'm not sure that's how storytelling works, that you have to go back to get the information. Okay. And he said, that is General Daimos Fortress. He's one of the Hunters Obsidian Knights, sir. Okay, interesting. So they're gonna fight an enemy, I guess. But then, again, weird dialogue is happening. I will follow you to the edges of naive Feonel. You know that. Feonel is this guy, I guess. So, and this girl says, really? You know the commander from before? So I expect her to give an answer, but she doesn't, because she immediately goes to this guy, ignoring her question. So you must be Farron, and you found a rumored treasure. How did you know? And he says, well, I have a feeling for those kind of things. Don't you know? No, she doesn't know because she just asked you that question. Oh my God. Anyway, the enemy is here, and they found our heroes. Well, they have a lead or something. And then this creature comes, said that, hey, he's actually scared of this guy, evil guy. And he says, please, I tell you everything I know. And so he's going to cooperate. There's some really weird things with his eye. Can you see it? What I mean? It looks so weird. And he says, haha, seem scared enough to actually tell me the truth. Fine, talk. So this guy rats them out, and then he says, well, they forced me to work for them, and blah, blah, blah. And he says, your mercenaries are locked up in the darkest dungeon. Okay, as we've seen in the last issue. Okay, cool. So he's kind of ratting them out. And then, again, weird dialogue that I really don't get. He says, all right, Frank, I never used this liquid obsidian, so it needs to enter my bloodstream. Who are you talking to? Frank is not here. Frank is here. Is Frank your friend? Is Frank your commander? Are you brothers? Are you related? Why are you using his name? Did you get this from Frank? I got so many questions. Again, don't throw this at me when it's not making sense. Okay, so he uses the liquid, injects him with him, and I like that, by the way. It's instead of using internal magic powers, he used a kind of a liquid. I like that. It's new. It's different. So he uses, I don't know, mind control, like and lightning, and these people are getting hit by it, and they are being affected. And it seems that the town is now under fully control of the bad guy. So this tiger guy says, "Hey, I want to get out. Let's leave. We need to get out." He says, "No, you don't go out that door." It's okay. And he says, "Hey, what's going on? We better move or we're doomed, Commander. Listen to me. You walk out, and they get to you. There is something in the air when they use the force of their black weapons, Elsler. But it wasn't a weapon. It was a liquid. Is that called a weapon then?" And then he uses the power of his fingers to control that power using, I don't know, the guy from Star Wars. I forget his name. The Emperor, I mean. So it's not really a weapon, isn't it? Okay. But he explains what black weapons Esler is. Thank God. He says it's some kind of electric link that sparks between them the tension in the air and, well, you. I like that explanation. I mean, it makes sense, and it established what this actually is. Good. That's what I want to know. Again, there is some good storytelling in here, maybe a little bit sometimes simplistic, but like I said, you have to explain the reader that is not familiar with all these characters, all these backgrounds, all these info dump that you are, giving us. Explain it like people are 5 or 10 years old. Make it understandable. Make them care for their for your heroes. Okay, cool. If they get you, it's like a harpoon, and they will you into compliance. The worst thing is your mind is still your own, and so you are aware of what they force your body to do. But then again, the story gets weird again. He says, "Wait, why aren't we affecting like the villagers?" So my instant thought was, well, maybe you are not outside. You are in the house. And she says, the roof. The roof over our heads must have stopped the beam of the hunters. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Really? Imagine if it's raining and you are in a house. And then you say, why aren't we getting wet? Well, maybe because of the roof that's holding... that stops the rain from coming in. It's just, come on. Don't do that. So these people know what they are, and they says, hey, let us in. But they are actually know what they are doing, and they try to stop themselves, but they cannot help themselves. And then this is happening. They're throwing themselves in through the window. I like that. This is unexpected. Instead of barging in or try to, I don't know, set the thing on fire or something. No, they try to come in, but they also say, blood hunters make me break the window. Ouch. So they're still feeling pain. Again, they are fully aware. Nice. And these guys are hiding themselves, but since this is not really a very big house, compound, hideout, whatever, barn, how can they, hide themselves so well? Doesn't matter. They will be found out, of course, because it's too small. But then this guy here says, uh-oh, I forgot my boots. And they saw their boots, and that makes them immediately think, oh, they are still here. And then the evil guy gets a whim of that because they are mentally linked. I like that as well, but it's a little bit silly. But that actually made me laugh. But I'm not sure if that is intentional or not. If that's supposed to be funny or is this to be serious, but it made me laugh. And then the dialogue gets weird again. Well, it's not really weird, but the thing that is happening. Okay, I'm going to explain to you. So he says, all right, miserable peasants, bring me the insurgents alive or I'll electrify you all to a crisp. Okay, cool. So he uses this magic or whatever. And they see, and people are screaming in pain. And okay, so, but then our heroes come out and these people are dead. And the pussycat or the cat says, I didn't do it. And Candy says, must have been the hunters that they killed him. The hunters, did they make them blow up or what? But the other things that all these heroes think that one of them did that. But if none of them did that, then how did they die? Which makes me wonder that he uses the power and accidentally blew them up. Which makes no sense because he says, bring them to me. And then they use their power. He uses his power and then the power kills them, which doesn't make any sense. How? Okay. And I like the banter between this guy. He's still called Blondie and he has a real name. Cut the whole sub-names, just call him by the real names. It makes the story better and less confusing if you give all these people that has real names also sub-names and cute names and alternate names. Don't do that. It's confusing enough as it is. But I love the banter between these. And he says, hey, did you do it? And he says, I don't know what they did. I sure hell no. I don't like your accusations, tone, young man. You big cats treat me men like toys. Just cause you have 9 lives doesn't mean we do. I mean that is the humor that I like. It's subtle, it's funny, it's short, it's to the point, it's punchy. I like that. And then he has to come in between him because they are acting like kids. Keep it up, David. I love the dynamic between these two. Make it fun. But don't do that weird humor stuff, if you know what I mean. So they are getting attacked by these villagers, and the villagers say, can't help it, please don't kill me, run. So they are escaping, running past by them, but then one of the heroes, the new heroes, is behind, and the hunters or whatever is chasing her, because I cannot see it, is behind her. And that's another little bit small criticism that I have. We don't see them actually being chased by the mob, the bad guys. They are just running, and there's a lot of close-ups. And so this guy stays behind, uses his, magic, which looks cool, and it drives, I believe, the villagers away, which is cool. Okay, skipping a few pages, but then somehow a mist comes up. I love the effect. It's getting darker. I love the color tone. And he says, well, that's probably my friend Niger. And he says, can we trust him? Of course, that's why I called him to our aid. And then the Tiger Man says, that old man is a weird Philo, must be fellow, I guess. He's a poison tracker, poison taster, tracker, monster tamer, and he doesn't eat meat. And okay, again, love the effect, by the way. And it says, "Who is there? Identify yourself." But remember that they talk about birds, and so this nigger or whatever he is says, "Hurry, birds are ready. Birds are ready. I keep the fog up as long as possible." I didn't see any birds. What is the birds that you are talking about? Is that a portal that you are creating, or an entrance, or an exit? I have no clue. And then the bad guy has some how do you say, is getting insecure somehow. He says, "Ouch, Orch, I should be attending this matter in person, but that'd be unlike a commander of my rank. Damn, it's bad enough that Eric and Ferdinanda know it, but..." And then he's getting interrupted by, I guess, Ferdinanda. And he says, "Lufer, why send those useless idiots when I haven't eaten in days? No, we need to be methodical about this. I need them alive. Once I get what I want from them, you can do whatever you want." Okay, I get, but why are you showing your insecurities? I mean, you don't need it. And he sent these goons, called Raik and Alirma, towards them. And it seems that these guys have some skills that I actually like. So she's now here with the rest, and then he wants to harpoon her. And then Blondie, or whatever his real name is coming to the rescue. Yeah, now some stuff is going to happen that I think interesting. So Blondie steps in and saves her. So he thinks, haha, I got the girl. And then Blondie is here. And he, attacks these aggressors. And also this guy rides on a chocobo. Cool. So he says, Needham, what happened to you? Wait, where's Blondie? That hothead Farron stayed behind to hold him back. Bloody hell, what is that kid trying to prove? Also, go get him back now. And then he says, finally, I can die in a battlefield and honor my father's name. Okay, that's noble. And so this fat guy or samurai guy, or I don't know what he is, seems to have some powers. He can, I believe, absorbs the blows, turn his parts of his body into stone, which is really cool. So he headsbutts them, and then this part of him, turns into stone, and he's not a slouch either. He can actually fight back. He's pretty good. And then some flowing problems. So he cuts his hand, right? So I thought, okay, he lost his hand, right? And then he cuts a hand. So I thought, okay, he lost two hands. No, it's only one hand, because he